Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Wall Street close bulls back in town. S&P 500 tests all-time closing high. ntvforex.com news ID 78A8 FB 6 minutes ago by Ross J. Berland. S&P 500 unofficially closed NBSP up 46.52 points, or 1.40%, at 3,380.21. DJIA unofficially closed NBSP up 298.14 points, or 1.08%, at 27,985.05. Nasdaq unofficially closed NBSP up 229.18 points, or 2.13%, at 11,012.00. U.S. benchmarks ended higher on Wednesday, buoyed by the U.S. inflation data, advances in the Big Five techs, and despite the deadlock in Congress. The S&P 500 was the NBSP head-turner NBSP flirted with new highs, trading to 3,387.89 in the last hour of the session, ending just below the all-time closing high, having breached it earlier in the day. The Nasdaq and Dow also rose sharply. The Nasdaq was the first of the three major indexes to bounce back to an all-time high in June. The Dow remains below its February peak. The Dow Jones Industrial Average DJI rose 289.93 points, or 1.05%, to 27,976.84. The S&P 500 SPX gained 46.66 points, or 1.40%, to 3,380.35, and the Nasdaq Composite IXIC added 229.42 points, or 2.13%, to 11,012.24. Tesla Inc. TSLA shares jumped 13.1%, in one of the biggest boosts to the Nasdaq, after it announced a 5-for-1 stock split in an attempt to make its shares more accessible to employees and investors. The Big Five: Apple AAPL, Microsoft MSFT, Amazon.com AMZN, Alphabet Google, and Facebook FB accounted for 40% of the S&P 500's near 47-point rise. US CPI NBSP beats expectations. Prices trended up in the US in July, with the headline CPI up 0.6%, MMA twice the rise expected. Core CPI also rose 0.6%, its largest rise in nearly 30 years. Clothing prices lifted 1.1%, while used cars gained 2.3% and fuel prices shot up 5.6%. This data and the PPI released a day earlier were both stronger than expected, but with the virus still raging in the US, it may be some time before there is a sustained improvement in economic activity, analysts at ANZ Bank explained. SP 500 levels. SP 500 overview today. Last price 3,385 today. Daily change 5.25 today. Daily change percent 0.16 today. Daily open 3,379.75. NBSP trends. Daily SMA 20 3,271.7. Daily SMA 50 3,183.26. Daily SMA 100 3,003.92. Daily SMA 200 3063.1. NBSP levels. Previous daily high 3,387. Previous daily low 3,363. Previous weekly high 3,353.75. Previous weekly low 3,264.25. Previous monthly high 3,293. Previous monthly low 3,073.5. Daily Fibonacci 38.2%. 3,377.83. Daily Fibonacci 61.8%. 3,372.17. Daily Pivot Point S1 3,366.17. Daily Pivot Point S2 3,352.58. Daily Pivot Point S3 3,342.17. Daily Pivot Point R1 3,390.17. Daily Pivot Point R2 3,400.58. Daily Pivot Point R3 3,414.17. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, Text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. New Zealand dollar plunges, S&P 500 surges analysis http ntvforex.com news ID 67FED68122029 13:57 p.m. The New Zealand dollar has fallen against the US dollar as New Zealand records new community transmitted cases since the last time 102 days ago. New Zealand dollar pushing down against the US dollar as lockdown bites NBSP after a rally in risk on currencies. The New Zealand dollar has fallen over 0.75% over the past 2 days from its high from 0.6175 as the largest city in the country, Auckland, was put into a mandatory level 3 lockdown for 3 days. For reference, New Zealand uses a 4-level system, with 4 being the most severe of lockdowns, imposing a mandatory stay-at-home order for all citizens, with only essential workers such as nurses and doctors allowed to work. New Zealand citizens gearing up for another lockdown level 3 is less severe. However, it still imposes mandatory work from home orders if it is possible to do so. Schools and restaurants are closed. However, takeaways are allowed. Furthermore, only gatherings of 10 are permitted, with police roadblocks around the Auckland area to catch people going in and out of the city. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern urges citizens not to panic and panic buy at the supermarkets. However, queues have been seen stretching out the door at many supermarket chains, with police being required to be present to control the crowd of shoppers. Queues at the supermarket as shoppers react to the late-night bombshell from Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. New Zealand markets sell-off may be reactionary. NBSP in terms of the New Zealand dollar and New Zealand equities, this sell-off may be purely reactionary. New Zealand is doing far better than essentially every other country, including its bigger brother Australia. This may be a good time for bulls to enter the market. As we've seen with many other securities as of late, the market is quick to pounce on a beaten asset for the rebound. S&P 500 and Nasdaq soldiering forward. NBSP. Meanwhile, in the United States, we see the market edge higher, with the Nasdaq and Dow Jones climbing back to their all-time highs on useful U.S. inflation data. However, the outperformer was the SP 500, with cyclical assets such as energy stocks help push the index past its all-time highs. S&P 500 pushes into positive territory year-to-date. NBSP. The S&P 500 broke the 3,386 level, finishing the U.S. trading session just under 3,390, an all-time high. This is a familiar picture with investors and traders who have been following the markets for the past couple of months. Say the market rallies on good news regardless of the relevancy, with the market discounting the bad news, citing Fed liquidity propping up assets. Regardless, the rally in equities has been astounding, proving the wrong unbelievers of the V-shaped recovery. Barry Jones, manager at the James Investment Research, stated that the rally in the equity markets has been absolutely amazing and that the market has done the V-shaped recovery that the economy has noted, with the stock market plowing right ahead. Futures pulled back slightly at the end of the U.S. session, most likely gearing up for the retail sales figure this Friday. A better than expected result will most likely see the Nasdaq push up above its record high of 11,286 and solidifying the S&P 500's push above its all-time high. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. AUD/USD recovery moves I0.7200 ahead of Aussie jobs report. ntvforex.com news ID 08D4501 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. AUD/USD keeps pullback from 0.7108, snapped a 3-day losing streak on Wednesday. Market sentiment improved on upbeat US data, no major negatives from US-China. S&P 500 refreshed record tops. Gold also bounced from $1,860. US senators struggle to renegotiate the stimulus. Australian employment for July will be the key. AUD/USD eases from the previous DIA's top, flashed a few hours back, to 0.7160 at the start of Thursday AS Asian session. Even so, the quote remains on the front foot while carrying the U-turn from 21-day EMA. While broad risk-on mood could be cited for the para's earlier upbeat performance, doubts over the US aid package negotiations recently seem to exert the downside pressure. Bulls cheer gains of equities, gold despite downbeat concerns at home. Although Australia's wage price index and Westpac consumer confidence flashed unwelcomed figures the previous day, AUD/USD prices managed to snap the three-day declines. The reason could be traced from the market's optimism surrounding the recovery in the world's largest economy, as portrayed by the latest inflation data. Following the upbeat performance of the Producers' Price Index (PPI), the U.S. Consumer Price Index (CPI) also beat expectations while rising double the forecast of 0.3% to 0.6% in July. Other than the upbeat data, an absence of negatives from the Sino-American tussle frontier also helped the trading sentiment to remain positive. Although U.S. President Donald Trump said the Phase 1 deal means a very little to him, Chinese diplomats have of late shown serious concerns to back the negotiations. The same could be witnessed in their agricultural buying from America, as per the White House advisor Larry Kudlow. Elsewhere, the coronavirus COVID-19 statistics in the U.S. have recently been doubted as the fall in the new cases joined a decline in the testing. On the other hand, Victoria's also stepped back but stay above 400. Against this backdrop, Wall Street flashed notable gains wherein the S&P 500 passed with flying colors by refreshing record high. The U.S. 10-year Treasury yields also gained 1.5 basis points BPS to 0.673% by the end of Wednesday. Moving on, traders will keep eyes on July month's employment data from Australia. Forecasts suggest employment change drop from 210.8k to 40k with a rise in unemployment change to 7.8% against 7.4% prior. It should also be noted that the recently grim words from U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin probes the bulls and makes it important for traders to keep a watch on risk catalysts as well. Technical analysis: the para's bounce off 21-day EMA enables it to attack 0.7200 immediate resistance ahead of the monthly top near 0.7245. On the downside, 0.706560 area comprising July 24th low and June 10th high can offer an extra support past 0.7115 level including the short-term EMA. Additional important levels overview: today last price 0.716, today daily change 17 pips, today daily change percent 0.24%, today daily open 0.7143, NBSP trends daily SMA 20 0.7123, daily SMA 50 0.7002, daily SMA 100 0.67, daily SMA 200 0.6708, NBSP levels: previous daily high 0.719, previous daily low 0.7134, previous weekly high 0.7244, previous weekly low 0.7076, previous monthly high 0.7228, previous monthly low 0.6876, daily Fibonacci 38.2%, 0.7155, daily Fibonacci 61.8%, 0.7169, daily pivot point S1 0.7121, daily pivot point S2 0.71, daily pivot point S3 0.7065, daily pivot point R1 0.7177, daily pivot point R2 0.7212, daily pivot point R3 0.7233, NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. FIDA's Daily Congress will need to build a bridge. http://ntvforex.com News ID 69141B 6 minutes ago by Anil Panchal, President of the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco. Mary Daly adds more comments. this time on stimulus talks as well, while extending her latest speech. Key quotes: lapse of extended unemployment benefits creates a hole in consumer demand and spending. It wouldn't surprise her if data in fall suggests parents leaving the labor force because of difficulties finding child care. Forward guidance can make some of the Fed's tools more effective by sending a clearer message to the public. Congress will need to build a bridge now that dealing with coronavirus longer than had hoped. FX implications. NBSP. The update exerts additional pressure on the U.S. senators to roll out the much-awaited aid package, which in turn highlights updates concerning the same. As a result, the recent downbeat comments from U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin probe the AUD/USD buyers around 0.7160. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. USTR Lighthizer EU has not taken actions necessary to come into compliance with WTO decision. ntvforex.com News ID A3604E 2 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. Early Thursday morning in Asia, late Wednesday in the West, the U.S. Trade Representative USTR Robert Lighthizer crossed wires, via Reuters, while criticizing the European Union (EU) over the BLCA's performance on the Airbus case. The Trump administration member also marked some tariff changes for the UK, Greece, France, and Germany. Key quotes: will modify list of EU products affected by tariffs in aircraft subsidy case. Tariff rates on EU products will remain unchanged at 25% for EU goods, and 15% for aircraft. Modifying list of EU products facing tariffs to remove some from Greece and Britain, adding equivalent amount France and Germany. EU has not taken actions necessary to comply with the WTO decision on aircraft subsidies. US committed to obtaining long-term resolution to dispute over aircraft subsidies will begin new process with EU. Market reaction. The trade negative news joins the doubts over American stimulus package to probe the risk barometer. AUD/USD pair's recent recovery around 0.7160. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. UK Chancellor Sunak told to safeguard recovery or watch it fail. A timished. ntvforex.com News ID 85BA5 A 2 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. Early Thursday morning in Asia, The Times came out with the news suggesting further easy money policies from the UK. The reason could be spotted in the Employment Organisation SA and Union SA push to British Chancellor to keep supporting their workers. Key quotes: business leaders and trade unions have urged the government to provide continued support for workers to prevent the nascent economic recovery from petering out as furlough scheme is expiring in October. Responding to GDP figures that show that economy was 2 months into a recovery from the deepest recession on record, employer organizations and unions told the Chancellor, Rishi Sunak, to extend furlough or cut employment taxes to avert a jobs disaster. FX implications. Despite being positive for the GBP/USD pair, the news fails to put a bid under the quote while flashing 1.3030 as the quote by the press time. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. U.S. President Trump economic performance significantly better than Europe. ntvforex.com News ID BEA5B0 2 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. U.S. President Donald Trump reappraised the American economic performance during this rooting White House press conference on early Thursday morning in Asia. Key quotes: U.S. economy performance significantly better than Europe. We're doing incredibly well with the coronavirus, COVID-19 and therapeutics. The manufacturing sector is booming. We had to turn off the economy and now we're turning it back on, and that's beyond a V-shape. We lead the world, Japan is second, but in terms of dollar value it's not even close. This will be one of the greatest frauds in history, NBSP blaming the Democrats for pushing mail-in voting. FX implications: the news helps AUD-USD pair to stop its pullback from 0.7177 while bouncing off 0.7155 to 0.7162. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Fed's Kaplan extension of unemployment benefit is important. ntvforex.com news ID 227412 2 minutes ago by Ross J. Berlin. The U.S. recovery has been muted by the resurgence of the coronavirus in recent weeks and could mar improvement in the unemployment rate, Dallas Federal Reserve President Robert Kaplan said overnight. In more cent trade, Kaplan has commented saying that an extension of unemployment benefit is important and that a NBSP hard lockdown is not the NBSP right answer for the U.S. NBSP economy. The rebounding continues, but with the resurgence that has muted the rebound, it has muted the recovery, Kaplan said in webcast remarks overnight NBSP to the Lubbock Chamber of Commerce. He said he thought the unemployment rate could fall to 9% by the end of the year, or even below that, but it requires adherence to protocols, particularly wearing masks. If we don't follow that, while people may feel freer, the economy will grow slower. Market implications. Meanwhile, risk appetite recovered on Wednesday, with North American stocks making up for Tuesday's losses as the S&P 500 tested the all-time closing highs, despite no signs of progress in stimulus talks in Congress. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Gold price analysis. XAU-USD keeps bounce off 3-week low beyond $1,900. http ntvforex.com news ID D3C3CA 3 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. Gold prices pull back from $1,907 to mark the second recovery wave from $1,863.24. U.S. policymakers fail to push stimulus talks, trade jitters continue. U.S. President Trump says to forgive payroll taxes after the election. Risk factors remain in focus amid a light calendar. Gold prices stay positive around $1,920 during the early Thursday morning in Asia. The bullion dropped to the lowest since July 23 before bouncing off $1,863.24 the previous day. While carrying forward its recovery moves, the precious metal keeps a $1,900 mark amid mixed catalysts. The U.S. keeps the focus albeit the American stimulus deadlock or recent verbal attacks on Europe, not to forget upbeat promises from President Donald Trump, the U.S. remains in the market focus. Even so, trading sentiment seems to have paused the previous upbeat performance as the U.S. Trade Representative USTR Robert Lighthizer increases levies on France and Germany while cutting the same on Greece and the UK. Also challenging the risk-tone sentiment is comments from the U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin suggesting further hardships for Senate negotiations concerning the much-needed stimulus. Even so, U.S. President Donald Trump tries to play his role as an optimist while saying that economic performance is significantly better than Europe. The Republican leader also showed readiness to cut payroll taxes after the November month elections. NBSP. Also on the positive side is the NBSP President and CEO of the NBSP Federal NBSP Reserve Bank of Dallas Robert Stephen NBSP Kaplan NBSP, who pushed the government for further unemployment benefits while ruling out the need for lockdowns. Amid all these catalysts, S&P 500 futures take rounds to 3,370 while keeping the previous day's run up. Wall Street closed notably positive, whereas the U.S. 10-year Treasury yields also rose on Wednesday. The reason could be traced from the upbeat U.S. Consumer Price Index (CPI) and no major negatives from the U.S.-China tussle frontier. Looking forward, traders will keep eyes on the risk catalysts like U.S. aid package, coronavirus COVID-19 updates and Sino-American news for fresh impetus. Given the recently mixed headlines, gold buyers may turn cautious. Technical analysis: despite bouncing off 50-day EMA near $1,860, gold prices are yet to regain their stand past 21-day EMA level of $1,935, which in turn suggests the bulls to not hurry while opening fresh positions. Additional important levels overview: today last price 1920.78, today daily change 10.18, today daily change percent 0.53%, today daily open 1910.6, NBSP trends daily SMA 20 1930.74, daily SMA 50 1825.35, daily SMA 100 1759.2, daily SMA 200 1647.47, NBSP levels: previous daily high 2030.09, previous daily low 1901.52, previous weekly high 2075.32, previous weekly low 1960.67, previous monthly high 1984.8, previous monthly low 1757.7, daily Fibonacci 38.2%, 1950.63, daily Fibonacci 61.8%, 1980.98, daily pivot point S1 1864.72, daily pivot point S2 1818.83, daily pivot point S3 1736.15, daily pivot point R1 1993.29, daily pivot point R2 2075.97, daily pivot point R3 2121.86, NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Top 3 coins price prediction: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Ripple. BTC USD sandwiched between strong resistance and support levels. A confluence detector. ntvforex.com news ID 29A8B9 4 minutes ago. Top 3 coins daily confluence detector: Bitcoin open $11,390, NBSP current price $11,573.65. BTC USD is sandwiched between strong resistance and support levels at $11,585 and $11,500. The former is highlighted by the 1-week Fibonacci 61.8% retracement level, while the latter has the previous month high and 1-day Fibonacci 38.2% retracement level. Ethereum open $378.88, current price $385.86. The $390.50 resistance level has the 1-month pivot point resistance 1 and 1 hour previous high. On the downside, the $383 support level has the 4-hour SMA 5 and 1-week Fibonacci 61.8% retracement level. Ripple open $0.2828, current price $0.2808. The 29-cent resistance level has the 1-month pivot point resistance 1, while the $0.2785 support level has the 1-day Fibonacci 23.6% retracement level and 1-week Fibonacci 61.8% retracement level. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. WTI price analysis: bulls attack $43 inside short-term rising channel. ntvforex.com news ID E3D2F7 5 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. WTI defies the previous DIA's pullback from $43.12 with a bounce off $42.76. Bullish MACD joins the price-positive chart pattern and suggests further upside. Sellers will look for entries below 200 HMA, monthly top lures the buyers. WTI picks up bids near $42.86, up 0.16% on a day, during the pre-Tokyo Asian session on Thursday. The energy benchmark flaunted the biggest gains in a month on Wednesday while keeping a one-week-old ascending trend channel formation. Although MACD signals increase the strength of the bullish chart pattern, the channel S resistance line, at $43.25 now, can question the black gold S immediate upside. If at all the buyers manage to cross $43.25, the monthly high near $43.65 and February monthly S low near $44 will act as additional resistances for them to confront. Alternatively, $42.30 and the channel S support line near $41.90 precede a 200 HMA level of $41.81 to challenge the commodity bears. While August 3rd high near $41.40 adds to the supports below the key HMA, the Quotia S further downside will make it vulnerable to attack the $40 threshold. WTI hourly chart trend bullish. Additional important levels overview today. Last price 42.86 today. Daily change 1.02 today. Daily change percent 2.44% today. Daily open 41.84 NBSP trends. Daily SMA 20 41.39 daily SMA 50 40.03 daily SMA 100 33.16 daily SMA 200 43.17 NBSP levels. Previous daily high 43.1 previous daily low 41.7 previous weekly high 43.62 previous weekly low 39.75 previous monthly high 42.52 previous monthly low 38.73 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 42.24 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 42.57 daily pivot point S1 41.32 daily pivot point S2 40.81 daily pivot point S3 39.92 daily pivot point R1 42.73 daily pivot point R2 43.62 daily pivot point R3 44.13 NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. NZD/USD bears looking to retake control below 0.6600 http ntvforex.com news ID 8519A 04 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. NZD/USD stays in a choppy range below 0.6580 following its pullback from 0.6601. New Zealand Food Price Index grew past 0.5% to 1.2% in July. Market sentiment struggles to keep the previous day's upside momentum amid mixed catalysts. Aussie employment data, updates concerning US stimulus, coronavirus, and trade wars will be the key. NZD/USD attacks the lower end of the immediate trading range while trading near 0.6574 during the early Asian session on Thursday. The Kiwi pair managed to recover the RBNZ-led losses during late Wednesday amid risk-on mood. However, the recent challenges to the trading sentiment keep the bears hopeful. In doing so, the pair also ignores upbeat prints of New Zealand's food price index for July. The price data crossed 0.5% prior with 1.2% MOM. Dovish RBNZ Kana TB ignored a upbeat US Consumer Price Index CPI data, and an absence of major negatives from the Sino-American frontier helped NZD/USD to recovery the RBNZ-led losses the previous day. However, the central bank's dovish play precedes the latest coronavirus COVID-19 resurgence and the resulted lockdowns. As a result, the policymakers are likely to turn more pessimistic during their next appearances. While identifying this, the Australia and New Zealand banking group ANZ NBSP said, now that the RBNZ has adopted a tactical approach to bond purchases and specifically mentioned its desire to actively get the bond curve lower and flatter, we suspect that we will see the pace of bond purchases step up, which will drive long-end rates lower, and that will eventually weaken the Kiwi USD gyrations, notwithstanding talking about the risks, dimming prospects that the US policymakers can overcome stimulus deadlock, join the ongoing trade wars, not to forget the COVID-19, weigh on the market sentiment. The latest comments from U.S. Trade Representative USTR Robert Lighthizer and Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin recently stopped the S&P 500 futures from following its Wall Street benchmark that closed near the all-time high. Although U.S. President Donald Trump stays ready to cut the payroll taxes, his hard stand against China and Europe will keep the risk-tone sentiment pressured. As a result, the Kiwi buyers may witness a sustained weakness in the absence of any major positives. While searching for clues, the pair traders will observe Australia's July month employment data for fresh impetus. Additionally, the risk factors emanating from the US and virus can keep the markets entertained. Technical analysis: unless successfully crossing 21-day EMA near 0.6600, NZD-USD prices become vulnerable to revisit 0.6520 level comprising 50-day EMA that triggered the Quotia's post-RBNZ bounce. Additional important levels overview: today last price 0.6574, today daily change 4 pips, today daily change percent 0.06%, today daily open 0.6578, NBSP trends daily SMA 20 0.6625, daily SMA 50 0.6542, daily SMA 100 0.6297, daily SMA 200 0.6365, NBSP levels: previous daily high 0.6628, previous daily low 0.6571, previous weekly high 0.6691, previous weekly low 0.6575, previous monthly high 0.6716, previous monthly low 0.644, daily Fibonacci 38.2%, 0.6593, daily Fibonacci 61.8%, 0.6606, daily pivot point S1 0.6557, daily pivot point S2 0.6535, daily pivot point S3 0.65, daily pivot point R1 0.6614, daily pivot point R2 0.6649, daily pivot point R3 0.6671, NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. USD CAD price analysis depressed around 1.3250 inside 5-week-old falling channel. ntvforex.com news IDA 7047D 5 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. USD CAD remains on the back foot while extending the latest pullback from 1.3347. RSI conditions offer intermediate bounce inside bearish chart pattern. 200 bar SMA adds to the upside barriers, February low offer nearby support. USD CAD stays pressured near 1.3245 amid the initial Asian session trading on Thursday. The loonie pair dropped to the fresh low since February the previous day, but nearly overbought RSI conditions seem to have limited the Quotia's downside past 1.3229. Even so, a descending trend channel formation from July 8 keeps the sellers hopeful. As a result, February month low near 1.3200 keeps luring the bears once the pair slips below 1.3229. Though, the channel's support around 1.317065 may offer another pullback moves afterward. In a case where the USD CAD prices fail to recover from 1.3165, the early January top around 1.3100 and October 2019 low near 1.3040 could entertain the sellers. On the upside, 1.3300 and 1.333035 can return to the charts during the pair's fresh bounce. However, buyers will stay cautious unless breaking a 200 bar SMA level of 1.3470, needless to mention about the channel's resistance line, at 1.3365 now. USD CAD 4-hour chart trend bearish. Additional important levels overview. Today last price 1.3245. Today daily change 56 pips. Today daily change percent 0.42%. Today daily open 1.3301. NBSP trends daily SMA 201.3406. Daily SMA 501.3498. Daily SMA 1001.375. Daily SMA 2001.3531. NBSP levels. Previous daily high 1.3361. Previous daily low 1.3271. Previous weekly high 1.3451. Previous weekly low 1.3234. Previous monthly high 1.3646. Previous monthly low 1.3331. Daily Fibonacci 38.2%. 1.3305. Daily Fibonacci 61.8%. 1.3326. Daily pivot point S1 1.3261. Daily pivot point S2 1.3221. Daily pivot point S3 1.3171. Daily pivot point R1 1.3351. Daily pivot point R2 1.3401. Daily pivot point R3 1.3441. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. AUD/NZD biased upward on central bank divergence at ntvforex.com. News ID A5A3615. 5 minutes ago by Ross J. Berland. The drift higher has started due to the contrasting central bank themes. At the time FO writing, AUD/NZD NBSP is trading at 1.0892 within a 1.0877 and 1.0895 range. NBSP following the Reserve Bank of Australia's relaxed approach. In contrast, the Reserve Bank of New Zealand was very clear that it wanted a lower currency. NBSP. The RBNZ kept its cash rate at 0.25% as fully expected, but provided a mild surprise by extending its QE program from NZD 60BN to NZD 100BN. The central banks, however, did NBSP extend NBSP the time frame of the purchases to 2022. NBSP. The NZD moved 34.0 bps lower immediately but has since recovered part of the move. Given how dovish the tone was, we see a real risk that the NZD weakens further in coming weeks as the gravity of today sinks in. The pace of bond purchases to step up and weigh NBSP now that the RBNZ has adopted a tactical approach to bond purchases and specifically mentioned its desire to actively get the bond curve lower and flatter. We suspect that we will see the pace of bond purchases step up, which will drive long-end rates lower, and that will eventually weaken the Kiwi USD gyrations notwithstanding, analysts at Westpac offered. Commodities in focus. Meanwhile, AUD/USD has been under pressure at the time from renewed pressure on gold prices, probing 0.7110, about 40 pips on the day. This kept a lid on AUD/NZD. NBSP spot gold broke below $1,900 ounce as investors took profits from the months-long rally yesterday. However, new inflationary pressures following the U.S. inflation data, investors got back involved at bargain prices. Gold subsequently rallied to $1,950 ounce before further profit-taking saw prices ease into the close. All in all, a NBSP risk-on tone across markets helped boost sentiment in the commodity markets, with the NBSP ANZ China Commodity Index NBSP ending the session up 0.2%, analysts at ANZ Bank explained. The energy sector led the complex higher, with crude oil rising strongly. Copper led the industrial metals sector higher, offsetting falls in nickel and zinc. Agriculture was also stronger, driven by gains in corn, soybeans, and palm oil. Precious metals also managed to eke out a small gain, with gold rebounding while silver struggled. Bulk commodities was the only sector to end in the red, with iron ore and coking coal marginally lower. Aussie jobs data next in line. NBSP. The Australian labour market is the focus for the day. NBSP employment is expected to NBSP rise by 40k NBSP and the unemployment rate to lift to 7.8%. AUD NZD levels NBSP overview today last price 1.0893 today daily change 0.0032 today daily change percent 0.29 today daily open 1.0861 NBSP trends daily SMA 20 1.0751 daily SMA 50 1.0703 daily SMA 100 1.0638 daily SMA 200 1.0537 NBSP levels previous daily high 1.0897 previous daily low 1.0807 previous weekly high 1.0866 previous weekly low 1.0716 previous monthly high 1.0802 previous monthly low 1.0559 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 1.0862 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 1.0841 daily pivot point S1 1.0813 daily pivot point S2 1.0765 daily pivot point S3 1.0723 daily pivot point R1 1.0903 daily pivot point R2 1.0945 daily pivot point R3 1.0993 NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. AUD steady above 0.71 as USD remains under pressure. Analysis http ntvforex.com news ID 02989B8 12 2020 11:56:53 p.m. AUD Australian dollar. The Australian dollar finished higher on the day, buoyed by improvements in risk appetite and a broad-based USD sell-off. The AUD was dragged back through 0.7150 as US equities signaled a firm shift back to risk, posting near record highs while downward pressure on real-term US interest rates continued to weigh on the world's base currency. The AUD appears well bid on moves approaching 0.7080 0.7100 and we expect that ongoing pressure on the USD will fuel further upside and an extension beyond 0.7230 moving through the weeks ahead. However, as US fiscal stimulus negotiations remain unresolved, investors appear reluctant to extend the current bounds and a period of consolidation will likely hold until a final announcement is made. With talks again at an impasse, concern is mounting a short-term fix will not be found. While the AUD struggles to break outside a 0.7100-0.7240 range against the USD, it continued its advance against the NZD. The NZD closed below critical support handles and the divergence in RBNZ and RBA monetary policy programs is forcing investors toward the Aussie dollar. The RBA's yield curve management platform and aversion to negative interest rates have allowed real interest rates to return a higher yield in Australia. With the gap expected to widen, we anticipate the AUD will extend its push beyond 1.10 and back above 1.12-1.13 through the medium term. Key movers: the US dollar gave up Tuesday's gains, drifting lower against a basket of currencies through trade on Wednesday. Negotiations between Democrats and Republicans remain at an impasse, and while expectations a deal will be reached in the near term remain high, there is mounting concern partisan political agendas will prompt damaging delays to much-needed COVID-19 relief. U.S. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin said on Wednesday we may not be able to reach a deal on coronavirus AIDA. Talks have stalled and the stalemate looks set to drag into next week, preventing fiscal support from flowing to over 30 million unemployed Americans. The dollar index fell 0.3% and appeared poised to break back below 93, however gains against the yen and a dour GDP outlook in the UK helped counter losses suffered against the euro and commodity-led counterparts. The euro pushed back toward 1.18, as investors continue the shift toward the single currency. The sharp decline in real U.S. interest rates means the 3-month differential on yields now favors the euro, prompting investors to chase a higher return amid prospects of a quicker economic recovery. The Great British Pound failed to take advantage of the USD downturn, dampened by an annualized GDP number that showed the British economy had entered a deep recession. Sterling did manage to hold above 1.30 though, as improvement in growth numbers through June offered some respite to the dour outlook. Expected ranges AUD 0.7080 US dollars 0.7240 AUD 0.6020 euros 0.6120 GBP 1.7980 Australian dollars 1.8420 AUD NZD 1.0830 1.0950 AUD 0.9430 Canadian dollars 0.9550 Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. When is the Australia unemployment rate and how could it affect AUD/USD? http ntvforex.com News ID B2CD0F 2 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. July month employment statistics from the Australian Bureau of Statistics, up for publishing at 0130 GMT on Thursday, will be the immediate catalyst for the AUD/USD pair traders. The figures become all the more important as traders will be keen to observe job recovery after the economic halt and amid the coronavirus COVID-19 resurgence. Market consensus favors employment change to drop to 40.0k from 210.8k on a seasonally adjusted basis, whereas the unemployment rate is likely to rise from 7.4% to 7.8%. Further, the participation rate may increase to 64.4% from 64.00% previous readouts. Westpac stays skeptical of market forecasts ahead of the release as their analysts say, after a substantial jump in employment in June of 210.8k, the recovery should continue in July at a slower pace. Westpac and the market expect increases of 40k and 30k respectively. Rising participation should drive unemployment higher from 7.4% to 7.8%, which would be high since 1998. ANZ, on the other hand, remains supportive of the consensus while saying, employment data at 11.30 am Australian time is the main game in town today. We expect employment to rise by 60k, market 40k and the unemployment rate to lift to 7.7%. How could the data affect AUD/USD given the robust dovish tone and lockdown conditions in Victoria challenging the recently upbeat trading sentiment? AUD/USD may recall the bears if employment data disappoints. It should, however, be noted that the market optimism concerning the absence of US-China tussle and latest recovery in Australia's COVID-19 figures may gain strength on the better than forecast jobs report. Technically, the pair's bounce off 21-day EMA enables it to attack 0.7200 immediate resistance ahead of the monthly top near 0.7245. On the downside, 0.706560 area comprising July 24th low and June 10th high can offer an extra support past 0.7115 level including the short-term EMA. Keynotes AUD/USD recovery moves I 0.7200 ahead of Aussie jobs report. AUD/USD forecast marginally up ahead of critical Australian data. Australian employment preview disappointing figures mostly priced in about the employment change. The employment change released by the Australian Bureau of Statistics is a measure of the change in the number of employed people in Australia. Generally speaking, a rise in this indicator has positive implications for consumer spending, which stimulates economic growth. Therefore, a high reading is seen as positive or bullish for the AUD, while a low reading is seen as negative or bearish. About the unemployment rate. The unemployment rate released by the NBSP Australian Bureau of Statistics NBSP is the number of unemployed workers divided by the total civilian labour force. If the rate hikes, indicates a lack of expansion within the Australian labour market. As a result, a rise leads to weaken the Australian economy. A decrease of the figure is seen as positive or bullish for the AUD, while an increase is seen as negative or bearish. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. AUDJPY price analysis. Bears looking for monthly, weekly and daily bearish confluence at ntvforex.com. News ID C11CB3 4 minutes ago by Ross J. Berland. AUDJPY is an attractive short below the daily structure. Currently, the stars do not quite align across all time frames from a top-down market structure analysis. NBSP the monthly is bearish and is looking as though it wants to form a head and shoulders. The weekly is proving that there is resistance that first needs to hold the bullish commitments at this juncture. The daily chart has a strong bullish bias while holding above a strong support structure along with the ascending trend line support. Monthly chart. The above chart shows a potential reversal head and shoulders pattern in the making, offering downside target opportunities for the bears. NBSP weekly chart. The weekly chart is showing that the bulls are trying for a second attempt at the resistance. Should they fail, the prospects for the head and shoulders are sound. Daily chart. The daily support structure is a confluence of higher lows, the support trend line and a resist of the structure which confirms a bullish bias. NBSP. However, should the same confluence break down, then bears will be looking to take over in the barroom NBSP brawl zone and a shorting opportunity on a retest of broken support structure turned resistance. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. EUR/USD price analysis. Falling wedge breakout suggests bull revival. ntvforex.com. News ID 251477 6 minutes ago by Omkar God. Bull EUR/USD is looking to establish a foothold above 1.18 in Asia. NBSP the 4-hour chart shows the pullback from recent highs above 1.19 has ended. EUR/USD is currently chipping away at the psychological hurdle of 1.18, having put in a low of 1.1711 on Wednesday. NBSP the 4-hour chart shows a falling wedge breakout. The pattern comprises converging trend lines connecting lower highs and lower lows. The converging nature of trend lines is considered a sign of weak bearish momentum. As such, the breakout is considered a sign of bullish reversal. NBSP in EUR's case, it indicates that the pullback from recent highs above 1.19 has ended and the uptrend has resumed. The immediate hurdle is located at January 1916 August 6 high. Meanwhile, support is located at 1.1777 Asian session low, which, if breached, would shift risk in favor of a retest of a weekly low of 1.1711. NBSP 4-hour chart trend bullish technical levels. EUR/USD overview. Today last price 1.1805. Today daily change 0.0021. Today daily change percent 0.18. Today daily open 1.1784. NBSP trends daily SMA 20 1.1692. Daily SMA 50 1.1448. Daily SMA 100 1.1184. Daily SMA 200 1.1116. NBSP levels previous daily high 1.1816. Previous daily low 1.1711. Previous weekly high January 1916. Previous weekly low 1.1696. Previous monthly high January 1909. Previous monthly low 1.1185. Daily Fibonacci 38.2%. 1.1776. Daily Fibonacci 61.8%. 1.1751. Daily pivot point S1 1.1725. Daily pivot point S2 1.1665. Daily pivot point S3 1.1619. Daily pivot point R1 1.183. Daily pivot point R2 1.1876. Daily pivot point R3 January 1935. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Bitcoin price forecast: BTC USD bulls aim for $11,600, but strong resistance restricts movement. A confluence detector. NTV4X.com news ID 084308. 2 minutes ago, BTC USD has strong resistance levels at $12,300 and $11,615. Correlation between BTC and gold has reached all-time high levels. NBSP BTC USD daily confluence detector. BTC USD has gone up from $11,568.60 to $11,596 as bulls continue to flirt around the $11,600 line. As per the daily confluence detector, there are two strong resistance levels at $12,300 and $11,615. The $12,300 level has the previous month high. $11,615 has a strong confluence level highlighted by the 1-week Fibonacci 61.8% retracement level and 1-day Fibonacci 23.6% retracement level. $12,300 has the 1-week and 1-month pivot points resistance 1. On the downside, we have healthy support levels at $11,525 and $10,600. $11,525 has the previous month high. $10,600 has the previous week low. Finally, the $10,600 level has the previous week low. Bitcoin and gold correlation. The monthly correlation rate between gold and Bitcoin has recently reached an all-time high of 70%. Surpassing the peaks recorded in 2018 and 2019, according to Skew Analytics. Bitcoin Gold 1 MTH correlation reaching new all-time highs, giving momentum to the store of value narrative for BTC in these money printer go BRRR times. pic.twitter.com HR7L8GPVFAA Skew at Skew.com August 10, 2020. Skew Analytics noted that such high correlation rates echo Bitcoin's narrative as a safe haven during times of uncertainty. As governments and central banks are increasingly printing more money to save their economies, investors appear to be switching from fiat currencies prone to inflation to harder assets. NBSP. In an earlier interview with KMID, Donald Trump, the President of the U.S., said that the next round of COVID-19 packages may go higher than the previous series of $1,200 per individual. He added, "I'd like to see it be very high, because I love the people. I want the people to get it." Because of government spending like this, Bitcoin and gold have surged in price throughout 2020. BTC reached a yearly high of $12,000 just as gold hit a historic $2,000 per ounce. However, both markets have fallen back significantly in recent times. They have been positively correlated. Bitcoin dropped by 4% to $11,200 recently, while gold suffered its worst slide in more than 7 years. NBSP popular Bitcoin critic and a gold advocate, Peter Schiff, took to Twitter to calm gold investors. NBSP misguided traders are once again selling gold in reaction to much hotter than expected inflation data. July producer prices surged 0.6%, twice estimates and the biggest rise in 2 years. Inflation will continue pushing prices higher, especially gold, as real interest rates fall. A Peter Schiff at Peter Schiff August 11, 2020. Notably, the RSI indicates that gold is currently overbought and is close to a sell-off, while Bitcoin is still in a market equilibrium zone. RSI is an indicator that shows whether buyers or sellers are dominating a market. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntv4x.com. USD/JPY eases from 3-week high to sub 107.00 area amid risk. NTV4x.com news ID 255,063. 3 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. USD/JPY snaps 4-day winning streak while taking a U-turn from 106.92. Market sentiment stays positive despite U.S. stimulus deadlock, trade wars. The upbeat performance of Japanese PPI exerts additional downside pressure. A light calendar keeps risk catalysts in the driver's seat. USD JPY drops to 106.75, down 0.16%, as traders in Tokyo begin their Thursday's work. The yen para's latest decline stalls the previous 4 days' upside as changes into the risk sentiment join upbeat factory gate inflation data from Japan. Risk on mood weakens the USD, Japanese PPI pleases the pair bears with the global traders paying a little heed to the latest geopolitical headlines, not to forget no progress in the American Senate discussions over the coronavirus COVID-19 aid package. Market sentiment negates the early Asian risk-off mood while recalling Wednesday's optimism. In doing so, traders ignore the Times headline citing the Trump administration's show of powers, via sending stealth bombers near Taiwan, to combat the Chinese threat by showcasing nuclear weapons. Also highlighting the geopolitical threats could be the U.S. Central Command's tweet citing the Iranian Navy overtaking a ship called Aylat. Furthermore, Beijing's citing of COVID-19 traces on imported frozen poultry and the U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer verbal attack on Europe also join the challenges to the risk. On the contrary, U.S. President Donald Trump's optimism backs the recent improvement in the American inflation data. The same joins the market belief that the Republican leader will smash any hurdles to Senate stimulus with this executive power as he did recently. Against this backdrop, S&P 500 futures gain 0.10% while stocks in Japan rise 1.8% by the press time. Also portraying the risk on mood is the U.S. 10-year Treasury yields, currently around 0.672%, as well as the U.S. dollar index DXY, down 0.17% to 93.27. Talking about the data, Japan's July month producer price index PPI grew past 0.3% forecast on MOM to 0.6%. Further, the yearly figures slipped less than 1.1% expected level to 0.9%. Looking forward, traders will keep eyes on the risk catalysts for fresh impulse ahead of the U.S. session when the weekly jobless claims could entertain the markets. Technical analysis 50-day SMA, currently around 106.85, probes the pair's break of a descending trend line from June 5. Hence, buyers will look for entries beyond 107.00, to be a safer side, while aiming to challenge a downward sloping trend line from March 25, at 108.07 now. On the downside, the resistance turn support line joins 21-day SMA to highlight 106.15 as the near-term key level to watch. Additional important levels overview today: last price 106.76, today daily change 0.15, today daily change percent 0.14%, today daily open 106.91, NBSP trends daily SMA 20 106.13, daily SMA 50 106.9, daily SMA 100 107.26, daily SMA 200 108.15, NBSP levels previous daily high 107.02, previous daily low 106.44, previous weekly high 106.47, previous weekly low 105.3, previous monthly high 108.16, previous monthly low 104.19, daily Fibonacci 38.2%, 106.8, daily Fibonacci 61.8%, 106.66, daily pivot point S1 106.57, daily pivot point S2 106.22, daily pivot point S3 105.99, daily pivot point R1 107.14, daily pivot point R2 107.36, daily pivot point R3 107.71, NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Boston Fed President A. The recovery is losing steam. Analysis http://ntv4x.com News ID 510AD813 12 am Boston Fed President Eric Rosengren is worried about the recovery. In addition, he is the third Fed president praising lockdowns. Key takeaways from Boston Fed President Eric Rosengren's August 12 remarks. Takeaway: the path of the economy will depend significantly on the course of the virus. So, limited or inconsistent efforts by states to control the virus are not only placing citizens at health risk, but are also likely to prolong the economic downturn. Excerpt A. As long as the virus poses significant threats to public health, a full economic recovery will be very difficult as individuals, often voluntarily, avoid activities that place their health at risk. Indeed, the trajectory of the economic recovery will be determined more by the path of the virus than by the path of policymaking, although monetary and fiscal policy can mitigate, and have mitigated, some of the most significant adverse impacts. NBSP takeaway: despite sizable interventions by monetary and fiscal policymakers, the economic data indicate that the recovery may be losing steam, as activities in many states are once again restricted, officially or voluntarily, to slow the virus spread. Excerpt A. The forecast for this fall is quite uncertain, but my view is that the recent slowdown in economic activity is likely to continue. Currently, we have an unemployment rate above 10%, and because of the continued community spread of the virus, I am concerned that the pandemic will limit the ability of the economy to recover quickly. A NBSP takeaway: states that reopened early saw a temporary economic benefit, but that gain has been short-lived and came at a cost. Including rising rates of infections, which have resulted in less spending more recently. Excerpt A. Lifting restrictions too quickly hurt both the economy and public health down the road. In the Northeast, where restrictions were more substantial and lasted longer, states are now experiencing both better public health outcomes and more spending in sectors of the economy that are sensitive to social distancing. A NBSP takeaway: while both Europe and the US had significant increases in infection rates in the spring, Europe enacted more stringent and longer-term shutdowns and limits, and did not reopen until the virus had reached low levels. Their infection rates fell faster and further, and have remained relatively low, and economic activity has been more robust. Excerpt A. In contrast, in the United States, infection rates remain elevated, as states lifted protective measures too soon and in a manner not calibrated for the true risks posed by the virus. A NBSP takeaway: credit interruptions prolong recessions and harm individuals and businesses, so it is important that the Fed stands ready, with the Main Street Lending Program, to facilitate credit flows that can bridge businesses and non-profits of many sizes, at reasonable rates. Excerpt A. The program is attractively structured for many facing cash flow interruptions due to the pandemic, facilitating 5-year loans with no payment of interest in the first year and no payment of principal until the third year. It is attractive for lenders because they can meet the credit needs in their markets while retaining only 5% of the loan on their books, with the Federal Reserve taking a 95% participation interest in the loan. The Fed is aiming to help entities that, given the uncertain outlook, might otherwise have difficulty in obtaining credit from a lender that would have to hold 100% of the loan. The Main Street program can provide essential financing to help these entities avoid shutting their doors and permanently laying off their employees. A NBSP takeaway: some suggest that the Main Street program's modest initial activity is evidence of failure, but Rosengren disagrees completely. The program is one important way the Fed is doing all it can to support the businesses, non-profits, and individuals that make up our nation's economy. Excerpt A. The numbers seem consistent with a gradual pace of initial activity that is more recently expanding as participants become familiar with the program parameters. Loans are contracts between borrowers and banks, and the negotiations for loans can take some time and effort. As borrowers and banks have become more familiar with the program, we have seen a steady increase in loans submitted to our portal. There are currently more than $856 million in loans active, with more than $250 million in loans committed or settled. Much of the increase has occurred recently, and I expect we will continue to see more. A short synopsis: points 1, 2, 5, and 6 address the slowdown. Points 3 and 4 are in praise of lockdowns. Point 6 is a self-serving "don't blame the Fed" call. What no free money? The 6-point synopsis was a Boston Fed summation I posted as is. What about more free money from the full speech? Clearly, continued stimulative monetary and fiscal policy are critical. Here is another cautionary excerpt. Unfortunately, as long as the virus poses significant threats to public health, a full economic recovery will be very difficult as individuals, often voluntarily, avoid activities that place their health at risk. NBSP. The increased saving rate, reflecting a falloff in consumption despite substantial fiscal transfers to individuals, illustrates the challenges the recovery faces. NBSP. The word fiscal came up 13 times. And as expected, NBSP Rosengren wants more of it. Related charts. Here is a link to the related Boston Fed charts. Personal savings rate, cases and deaths per million US versus EU. There are 14 charts and figures in all. Pleading for a lockdown. Third call for a lockdown on August 9. I noted NBSP. Yet another Fed president supports more free money in a COVID lockdown on August 3. I noted NBSP. Second Fed president calls for more free money. Current running score 3. Promote hard lockdowns. Fed presidents, Neil Kashkari Minneapolis and Charles Evans Chicago, support hard lockdowns. Add Eric Rosengren Boston to the list. 4. Promote more free money. Fed presidents, Neil Kashkari Minneapolis, Charles Evans Chicago, and Thomas Barkin Richmond support more free money. Add Eric Rosengren Boston to the list. Rosengren was far more subtle in his statements than the others, but it is clear what he is angling for. Heaven help us if unemployment follows the path of the Great Recession. In regards to jobs, please see NBSP. Heaven help us if unemployment follows the path of the Great Recession. Also note NBSP. Millennials screwed again, this time on unemployment. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. US sends stealth bombers to counter Chinese threat. The Timished ntvforex.com news ID 751 a 6D 4 minutes ago by Ross J. Berland. A report from earlier came from The Times, writing that 3 American B-2 stealth bombers have arrived in the Indian Ocean island of Diego Garcia on the eve of Chinese live-firing naval exercises north of Taiwan. Lead paragraphs. It is the first time the nuclear-capable strategic bombers have been sent to the remote island since 2016, in an indication of the growing concern about China's intentions towards Taiwan. The bombers flew across the Pacific from Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri to land at Diego Garcia, part of the British Indian Ocean Territory. With their advanced stealth technology, the B-2s can penetrate enemy territory without alerting air defense radars. The U.S. has been increasing its presence recently in the Indo-Pacific region as tension rises in Washington over China's stance towards Taiwan and disputed islands in South China Market implications. These NBSP are NBSP not so NBSP encouraging headlines ahead of the formal high-level review on the U.S.-China trade deal due on Saturday. NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. GBP USD price analysis pullback from 10-day EMA's weekly resistance line at ntvforex.com news ID 7F73F1 3 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. GBP USD extends recovery gains from 1.3020 while snapping a 2-day losing streak. Bearish MACD, 1-week-old falling trend line doubts the paira's further upside. 21-day EMA, a 6-week-old support line add to the downside support. GBP USD recovers from 10-day EMA while trading near 1.3057, up 0.18% on a day, during the early Thursday AS Asian session. The CABLE's latest bounce ignores bearish MACD signals while aiming for a short-term resistance line. However, the paira's further upside beyond the said trend line resistance, at 1.3100 now, will need a strong push before attacking the monthly top around 1.3185 and March monthly S peak surrounding 1.3200. In a case where the bulls dominate past 1.3200, December 31, 2019 high close to 1.3285 can return to the chart. Meanwhile, a downside break of 10-day EMA level of 1.30351 at call the bears immediately as 21-day EMA and an ascending trend line from June 30, respectively around 1.2935 and 1.2850, can still trigger the para S bounce. GBP USD daily chart trend bullish. Additional important levels overview today. Last price 1.306 today. Daily change 26 pips today. Daily change percent 0.20% today. Daily open 1.3034 NBSP trends. Daily SMA 20 1.2919 daily SMA 50 1.2687 daily SMA 100 1.2529 daily SMA 200 1.2712 NBSP levels. Previous daily high 1.3068 previous daily low 1.3006 previous weekly high 1.3186 previous weekly low 1.2982 previous monthly high 1.317 previous monthly low 1.236 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 1.3029 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 1.3044 daily pivot point S1 1.3004 daily pivot point S2 1.2973 daily pivot point S3 1.2941 daily pivot point R1 1.3066 daily pivot point R2 1.3098 daily pivot point R3 1.3128 NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Pound sterling price news and forecast. GBP USD pressure mounts. Critical support at 1.2980 http ntvforex.com news ID DF55A1 2 minutes ago by NTV Forex team. GBP USD price analysis pullback from 10-day EMA eyes weekly resistance line. GBP USD recovers from 10-day EMA while trading near 1.3057, up 0.18% on a day, during the early Thursday AS Asian session. The CABLE's latest bounce ignores bearish MACD signals while aiming for a short-term resistance line. However, the para S further upside beyond the said trend line resistance, at 1.3100 now, will need a strong push before attacking the monthly top around 1.3185 and March monthly S peak surrounding 1.3200. In a case where the bulls dominate past 1.3200, December 31, 2019 high close to 1.3285 can return to the chart. Read more. GBP USD forecast pressure mounts. Critical support at 1.2980. The GBP USD pair fell this Wednesday to 1.3005, a fresh weekly low, as the pound got hit by the record economic contraction reported in Q2. The gross domestic product for the 3 months to June came in at 21.7%, slightly better than anticipated yet signaling the extension of coronavirus harm to the economy. Total business investment in the same period contracted 31.4%, much worse than the 0.1% expected. Also, the June goods trade balance posted a deficit of a 5.12 BNBSP. On a positive note, industrial production was up 9.3% in June, and down 12.5% when compared to a year earlier, both numbers better than anticipated. Read more. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. S&P 500 futures struggles to carry Wednesday's upside move beyond 3,350 http ntvforex.com news ID 7F7C94 3 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. S&P 500 futures ease from 6-month high amid a lack of risk-positive headlines. Geopolitics, trade tension weigh on market sentiment amid U.S. stimulus deadlock. U.S. President Trump's economic optimism struggles to recall the bulls. S&P 500 futures dropped to 3,366, down 0.10% on a day, during the initial hour of Tokyo Open on Thursday. The risk barometer refreshed the 6-week high the previous day but fails to ignore the underlying threats to optimism off late. Among them, the Sino-American tension and the deadlock in the U.S. stimulus talks gain major attention. Recently, Trump administration showcased stealth bombers near Vietnam where China was already flaunting its nuclear weapons during the drill. On the other hand, U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin and U.S. President Donald Trump alleged opposition Democratic Party for the delay in the aid package. Further, the U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer,'s verbal attack on Europe and America's citing of Iranian Navy Guarda's performance are some of the additional threats to the market sentiment. On the contrary, U.S. President Donald Trump keeps highlighting the V-shaped recovery while upbeat inflation data from America favors the claims. Also challenging the bears are welcome Producer Price Index PPI from Japan and receding coronavirus COVID-19 numbers from Australia. Other than the aforementioned mixed catalysts, Japan's Nikkei 225, up 1.66% to 23,225, as well as the U.S. 10-year Treasury yields, down 2.2 basis points BPS to 0.66% also disturb the market players. While searching for a clear direction, traders may keep eyes on the U.S. budget talks and trade updates, not to forget COVID-19 news, as the economic calendar seems mostly dull. Even so, weekly prints of U.S. jobless claims, expected 1120K versus 1186K prior, may offer intermediate moves to the markets. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Australian July unemployment rate arrives at 7.5% versus expected 7.8%. http ntvforex.com news ID A9366C 6 minutes ago by Ross J. Berland. The Australian job report NBSP has been released as follows, lifting the Aussie on the better than expected jobs numbers, passing 0.7180. Aussie jobs data Australia July employment 114.7K adjective Reuters poll 40.0K. NBSP Australia July unemployment rate 7.5 PCT, adjective Reuters poll 7.8. Australia July full-time employment 43.5K adjective Australia July participation rate 64.7 PCT, adjective Reuters poll 64.4 PCT. Australian Bureau of Statistics says jobs recovered by 343,000, hours worked by 5.5% since May. ABS NBSP says employment remained over 500,000 people lower than seen in March. Westpac analysts, ahead of the release, explained that after a substantial jump in employment in June of 210.8K, the recovery should continue in July at a slower pace. Westpac and the market expected NBSP increases of 40K and 30K respectively. Rising participation should drive unemployment higher from 7.4% to 7.8%, which would be a high since 1998. AUD-USD implications. Meanwhile, Australia's economic recovery will be slowed notably by the Victorian virus resurgence. Stage 4 restrictions will weigh on the participation rate and leave the unemployment level elevated. NBSP. How much this hurts a dollar is an open question, with the NBSP consistently pushing back against further easing steps such as negative interest rates. China's industrial sector rebound also continues to underpin Australia's resources-driven trade surpluses, analysts at Westpac argued. The AUD is the commodity currency, which means it is bearing the biggest risk of a correction in the case of further escalation in US-China tensions. More to come. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. Clearing data suggests PBOC buying government debt. A Bloomberg NTVForex.com news ID 7BEB713 minutes ago by Dwani Mehta. According to the latest report carried by Bloomberg on Thursday, the clearing data prompted speculations that the PPAS Bank of China PBOC may have resorted to government bond buying from domestic banks last month. Key takeaways: A sovereign bonds held by other investors, a category that includes central banks and clearing houses, rose by 196.5 billion yuan to 1.78 trillion yuan, $256 billion last month, according to data released by China Central Depository AMP Clearing Co. last week. Policymakers have frequently said in the past they do not intend to enact the kind of bond market purchases seen in developed markets and have restricted stimulus measures throughout the coronavirus crisis to moderate trimming of market interest rates and a more generous liquidity policy. But they have flagged a willingness to support the government's fiscal policy. The PBOC is forbidden by the National's central bank law from purchasing government debt in the primary market. A market reaction: the above report has little to no impact on the Chinese yuan, as USD-CNY trades flat at 6.9375 so far this Thursday. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. AUD/USD extends gains as uptick in labour force participation lifts Australia's jobless rate. At ntvforex.com news ID 2BD1D16 minutes ago by Omkar Godbole. AUD/USD jumps over 10 pips after the upbeat Aussie labour market data. NBSP: the jobless rate ticked higher in July as more people joined the labour force. NBSP: the economy added a significantly higher number of jobs than expected. NBSP: AUD/USD's immediate trend depends on the action in gold prices. NBSP: the already bid AUD/USD is extending gains, with the Aussie data painting a positive picture of the labour market. NBSP: the currency pair is now trading at session highs above 0.7180, having added 10 pips following the release of the upbeat jobs report. NBSP labour force participation increases. Australia's unemployment rose to 7.5% in July, versus expectations for 7.8% and 7.4% previous. The smaller than expected rise is positive news. Also, the jobless rate ticked higher mainly due to an increase in the participation rate from 64% to 64.7%. NBSP: WADA's more. The economy added 114.7k jobs. The country was forecasted to have added 40k jobs following Junia's 210.8k additions. Full-time jobs increased by 4.5k following Junia's decline of 38.1k. NBSP: all in all, the data is likely to quell fears of prolonged economic slowdown and keep the AUD better bid during the day ahead. Take note that the RBA has pledged to keep the policy accommodative until credible evidence of sustained improvement in the labour market and inflation emerges. NBSP: the central bank foresees the unemployment rate rising to 10% later in 2020 due to job losses in Victoria and then gradually declining to around 7%. NBSP: the gains in the Aussie dollar, however, will likely be reversed if gold comes under pressure. The yellow metal fell sharply from $2,075 to $1,863 in the last 4 trading days, helping the oversold greenback chart gains against major currencies. The AUD/USD pair also declined from 0.7243 to 0.7109 in the 4 trading days to August 12, before recovering above 0.7150 during the overnight trade. Gold is currently trading around $1,938 per ounce. NBSP Technical Levels AUD/USD Overview Today Last Price 0.7176 Today Daily Change 0.0014 Today Daily Change Percent 0.20 Today Daily Open 0.7162 NBSP Trends Daily SMA 20 0.713 Daily SMA 50 0.7007 Daily SMA 100 0.6712 Daily SMA 200 0.6709 NBSP levels Previous daily high 0.7177 Previous daily low 0.7108 Previous weekly high 0.7244 Previous weekly low 0.7076 Previous monthly high 0.7228 Previous monthly low 0.6876 Daily Fibonacci 38.2% 0.7151 Daily Fibonacci 61.8% 0.7135 Daily Pivot Point S1 0.7121 Daily Pivot Point S2 0.7081 Daily Pivot Point S3 0.7053 Daily Pivot Point R1 0.719 Daily Pivot Point R2 0.7218 Daily Pivot Point R3 0.7258 NBSP Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me/mt5.expert.advisors. Hi, I am Anna. I come from www.ntvforex.com. AUDJPY probes intraday high above 76.50 on upbeat Aussie jobs report. ntvforex.com news IDAF 536C 5 minutes ago by Anil Panchal. AUDJPY bounces off 76.49 to 76.67 as Australia's July month employment data beat expectations. Aussie unemployment rate drops below 7.8% forecast to 7.5%. Employment change crosses 40K market consensus with 114.7K figures. Market sentiment sours amid mixed catalysts and a light calendar. US stimulus, coronavirus, and trade headlines become the key to watch. AUDJPY rises to 76.67, currently around 76.60, following Australia's welcome prints of the employment data on early Thursday. However, challenges to the risk-tone sentiment seem to question the para's upside following the 2 consecutive days of rise. Additionally, downbeat prints of Australia's consumer inflation expectations also weigh on the quote. Read NBSP Australian July unemployment rate arrives at 7.5% versus expected 7.8%. Not only the price-positive Aussie jobs data but receding strength of the coronavirus COVID-19 wave 2.0 in Victoria also favour the pair bulls. The second most populous state of Australia marks a sustained weakness in pandemic numbers above 400. Though, fears of unknown cases among the healthcare workers, as cited by The Guardian, question optimism. Elsewhere, U.S. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin and U.S. President Donald Trump alleged opposition Democratic Party for the delay in the much-awaited aid package. Though, President Trump's economic optimism could be cited as restricting the bears. Furthermore, the Trump administration's showcase of stealth bombers near Vietnam and trade attacks on Europe played their role to confuse the market players. It's worth mentioning that the trading sentiment rallied the previous day as U.S. inflation data marked upbeat figures amid policymakers saw claim that the are far from the recession. Amid all these catalysts, S&P 500 futures ease from the 6-month high to 3,368 while stocks in Japan gain 1.68% but Australia's ASX 200 drop 0.27% to 6,105 as we write. Looking forward, a lack of major data events will keep traders searching for risk catalysts concerning the U.S. stimulus, Sino-American tussle and COVID-19 for fresh impulse. Technical analysis. Although an 8-day-old ascending trend line suggests the para's run up to 77.00, an upward sloping resistance line from July 24, at 76.75, and the previous month's top near 76.90 can probe the bulls. Additional important levels overview today last price 76.51 today daily change 0.06 today daily change percent 0.08% today daily open 76.57 NBSP trends daily SMA 2075.67 daily SMA 5074.9 daily SMA 10071.98 daily SMA 20072.55 NBSP levels previous daily high 76.72 previous daily low 75.86 previous weekly high 76.44 previous weekly low 75.1 previous monthly high 76.88 previous monthly low 73.92 daily Fibonacci 38.2% 76.39 daily Fibonacci 61.8% 76.19 daily pivot point S1 76.05 daily pivot point S2 75.53 daily pivot point S3 75.19 daily pivot point R1 76.91 daily pivot point R2 77.24 daily pivot point R3 77.76 NBSP. Subscribe our channel to receive the news as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. If you want to read real-time news, text messages to MT5 Expert Advisors page at https://m.me mt5.expert.advisors.